Hey everybody, it's Robert coming to you with another adventure into history, and today we are deep in the middle of nowhere, Talbot County, Georgia, and have come across this old abandoned bridge, or what's left of an old abandoned bridge. So we're going to take a look at that and then maybe get a chance to look at some mill ruins that are just up this creek. So this bridge washed out apparently about 10 years ago, and you can see that there's been some killer flood water that has come down through here. This used to be an old wood planked bridge, and you can see that it was a base of iron just kind of set on the banks here. You can see actually where it's set on a piece of wood there, and look at the size of that thing right there. He's passed away, but that's a big old dragonfly. So back in the old days, when these bridges would wash out, and you know they often would when these creeks would flood, because even though it doesn't look like there is a lot of water in here now, you can see how much water has come through at some time with this big old dead tree washed up against this bridge. But anyway, back in the old days when these bridges would wash out, county employees would have to come and sit at the end of these bridges all night long to make sure that somebody did not drive off into the muck until they were either fixed, or in the case of this one in more modern times, blocked off so you can't drive over it anymore. And now we're gonna face our fears and see if we can't walk across. If I fall, y'all call someone to come get me, please. Now this is the point here where, you know, if you get dizzy, it ain't too good. And also when you walk across something like this, you know, you just hope it doesn't decide to, you know, finish falling right now. But I don't think it's going to. And as you're walking across this, you can just feel it shaking under your feet, which, you know, ain't good. Ain't good, but we're making it across. This is actually super cool. If you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I actually love old bridges. And even though there's not much to see here, this isn't a very picturesque bridge by any means, still very cool. And it helps us understand how these rural roads used to be when there was enough traffic that used to cross down here to justify a bridge. Obviously there's not enough today because it's closed up, but up until 10 years ago this old bridge was still being traveled across, and we can see just very basic on this old sketchy dirt road. Let's take a big step to come across. Alright, so we are at the mill ruins here, and this was another grist mill, right?
Yes.
Kind of maybe similar to the one that we saw just on a smaller scale, the one that we saw in operation recently. And this was the Hiram Knowlton mill.
Hiram Knowlton built it, and then it became Williams Mill that I know of. See, they used to have this dammed up.
Oh yeah.
And they used
down
to have,
that way? Right down there?
well, it was dammed up there because you would run the mill, and it was dammed up because they were having a picnic or something down there. They were having a picnic one day and the dam burst.
Oh wow.
And all their boats and everything went that way.
So this at one time actually was a pretty sizable mill.
Yeah.
But I'll have to show you the creek up the stream after we get finished here because it's absolutely beautiful. But let's see if we can't go look at the mill ruins. Just got to watch out for Joe No Shoulders, the water variety of Joe No Shoulders. All right, we made it. We made it over to the site of the old mill, or what's left of it. And it looks like there's not a whole lot to see, but it looks like the race probably came down here if they had it dammed, and then they channeled the water down here, and I bet there was a water wheel right here that turned. I think they're called an overshot mill, not like the turbine mill that we filmed recently. So it would have been a water wheel here that came down, that was powered by water that came down the race here. And I believe that this is foundation of the mill right over here. And so when I looked at this from across the creek, it did look like a super small operation, but I actually see a whole lot more over here than I thought. So this was pretty large apparently. We've got a foundation base here. It looks like probably a chimney right here. And then if the wheel was there and then ran into the mill, it would have probably been right up here. I was trying to see if this was, I guess that's natural erosion. Well, but maybe not. Look, there's actually foundation stone right there over this, so may have been something going on there. We have more foundation right here. So if we follow the footprint, it's there, foundation, 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 spider web. Oh, big hole in the ground. Okay. Anyway, comes around and then goes back to down there to where the water wheel was. So actually, it is a relatively large mill site. This is an absolutely beautiful area and does not look like, yeah, it doesn't look like we're in Talbot County, Georgia. This makes me think of North Georgia mountains.
They were having a picnic here.
Yeah. So somewhere up here, the mill ruins are just around that bend down there. Somewhere between here and there was a dam that would have held the water and redirected it into a race that would have powered that old mill. We were looking for evidence of the dam, but none seems to be visible. But still, beautiful area to come and explore. All right, so we are back up the road where it turns into a paved road, and there is a little cemetery that I told you about we're going to check out. Now, it doesn't appear as though there are any marked graves in here, and a section of the fence is missing. But someone cared enough to put a wrought iron fence around it. We got a field stone with actually still flowers. Someone placed some flowers there, you know, within the past few decades. And another field stone right here. If there was anything on this grave, it is long gone.
Yeah.
All I see is just patterns in the concrete, but you'll see that a lot. You'll look at something that's just poured concrete and it'll look like there's words on there because the kind of like the human mind wants to put patterns together, but nothing on it. So an unknown cemetery for now.
Maybe poured around 1910, 1920?
Yeah, this is, yeah, it's definitely early 1900s from the bricks. These are, this could be as late as, I'd say, you know, it could be as late as the 50s because these are very modern style bricks here. Although it looks like there's some older ones mixed in too, because those are wearing out, but these are very modern style.
Could have repaired it.
Yeah, they could have repaired it. Hard to say, but it's neat. It's neat. Another unknown cemetery. We always look outside of the wall to see, or outside of the gate to see if there's any marked graves, or any graves at all. But I don't see any.
It had to be somebody living right here.
Definitely just a small.
There was probably a house.
Yeah, probably a home site
Probably a house right
nearby, and the little family cemetery. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. We've had a little bit of everything. Old abandoned bridge, old abandoned mill, and an old cemetery that somebody remembers from the flowers on there. Somebody knows who's buried here, but we don't. Not today. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you next time.